Now then, how are you doing? Well, it's finally arrived here in Japan. From Elvis in Nashville, the CDs. As you can see from the front here, it's actually got an additional hype sticker in Japanese. And if you look at the back there, it's all grey and you can't see what the track titles are. That's because there's a booklet there, an additional Japanese booklet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this up and then come back and show you what's in here. Well, that took some getting because it's double shrink wrapped. Now let me tell you a little bit about how this is packaged. It's actually an imported CD set with Japanese hype sticker and the Japanese booklet. So the Japanese booklet is basically placed on top of the imported CD set, and then they shrink wrap it again, and then they put another hype sticker on the outside here. So what we've got inside here is either the American 4 CD set or the European 4 CD set. So there you go, there's the booklet that many of you will be already familiar with. And here's the pack with the CDs in. So again, these are not Japanese CDs, and it's not a Japanese booklet. It will be either American or European. And looking on the back, it is in fact European. If you look on the left side there, you can see there's a space between on the word trouble, bridge over troubled water. It has a gap between the first part of the word and the second part of the word. And in actual fact, there has been some problems shipping to and from America in recent months with the coronavirus, so that's probably why. Okay, so here's what you don't get in the American version or the European version. This is a Japanese booklet. Now, sometimes what they'll do is they'll put English lyrics in these booklets, but in recent years they haven't been putting any lyrics, just Japanese liner notes. So let's see what's in here. It feels fairly thick, but maybe not thick enough to have lyrics for four booklets. Okay, so it lists all the titles in Japanese. It's about 20 pages long, but it doesn't have any English lyrics in it. It's all in Japanese. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go away and listen to this, and then I'm going to come back as quickly as possible, break it down into which versions I prefer on this set and which versions I prefer on the original albums. Don't go away. I've had a chance to look through this booklet properly now, the Japanese booklet, and basically it's a translation of everything that's in the English booklet, the essays and all the quotes that you get from Elvis and the musicians. Like a lot of other people out there, I struggled to get the CDs out of the CD holders. So what I did was I put all the discs in these plastic CD holders. So you can, if you put them in these covers, then you can basically get them back into that, into this, and you can pull them out again using the edges of the CD covers. So if you can get these covers, I recommend you put them in now. So the first two CDs are organized in chronological order, with the earliest session at the beginning of CD1 and the last session at the end of CD2. And I believe the songs are presented in the order in which they were recorded. Now, it's good to get the songs in context like that, to hear them not only as Elvis heard them in the studio, without the strings, without the brass, without the backing vocals, but also in the order in which they recorded them. It's good to hear things that way. Although there was one thing that struck me when I was listening to Tomorrow Never Comes from the Elvis Country album, and that is how attached I've become to the segments of I Was Born About 10,000 Years Ago, which you can hear between each track. And that song in particular sounded less impressive without the 10,000 Years Ago segment at the beginning. The introduction to the song, the beginning of the song, didn't sound as good to me without that section coming in first. But that was just a small point. So because these are remixes, and because all the strings and the horns and the backing vocals have gone, you can hear things that you couldn't hear in the original albums, or you can't hear them particularly well. And in particular, the contributions of Jerry Carrigan on drums and James Burton on guitar stand out. Most of you will know that the vast majority of these songs ended up on 3 albums. That's the way it is. Elvis Country and Love Letters. You know, I've always been a huge fan of the first 2, but not really so much a big fan of Love Letters. So I was particularly interested in those. And what I've done is I've compared the album versions of those songs to the versions which appear here on the CDs. So I'm going to go through each of those 11 tracks and tell you which one or which version I prefer and why. And then after that I'll come back to a few more general comments on some of the other songs. So Love Letters, the first song on the LP, I think the CD version is better, purely for the absence of the flute or the flute type sound that you can hear throughout that song. I wasn't a big fan of that, and it sounds better on the CD. When I'm Over You, probably I think the LP version was a little bit better because I kind of miss the backing vocals. The female backing vocals sound quite soulful on When I'm Over You, so probably the LP version just edges that. If I Were You is another track that I think was probably better on the LP. The reason for that basically is because of in the CD version you can hear this fairly pedestrian rhythm guitar, and the orchestration in the LP version covers that up. So I don't particularly dislike the arrangement on the LP, and as I say, it just covers up this fairly boring guitar track. So probably the LP version is slightly better there. The fourth song on the album, Got My Mojo Working, I think it's difficult to say. I'd probably say this is about 50-50. The CD version has a nice organ part that you can hear very clearly, and it gets better as the song progresses. It's nice to be able to hear that. But I do miss the backing vocals. It's really quite exciting when Elvis is singing in the higher register and the female backing singers are responding to his call. So that's definitely a 50-50 one, I think. And the last song on the first side of Love Letters is Heart of Rome. And this is one of the songs that really shines on this CD set. This is definitely better on the CD. It's a real foot tapper now without all that orchestration in there. And the drums really stand out, and you can hear some really nice guitar picking in there as well. So on side 2, the first song was Only Believe. And I remember reading in a book which reviewed all of Elvis's songs, every one of his songs. Many years ago I read this book, and it summed up this song as massive and uninspired, and I've always remembered that because it just seemed to really nail the song. It just seemed to sum it up perfectly. But here there's no male backing vocals, and it just sounds more intimate here. The original version sounds like someone trying desperately to work up a crowd, but the crowd is just sort of sitting there with their heads down and their hands under their knees. But this particular version, it just sounds like it's not trying to impress so much, just a more natural type of sound. So I don't especially like the song Only Believe, but this version is definitely better than the LP version. The second song on side 2 was This Is Our Dance. And again, the CD version is much better, I think. I found the orchestral arrangement in the original is a little bit in your face, and again I don't like that flute sound that you get in there. So once again, I'm not a fan of this song, but it's definitely better here on the CD. Cindy Cindy, again I have to say the CD version is better. It's a rock song basically, so you don't need the orchestration under the guitar solo, and the backing vocals are pretty superfluous too. Although I have to say I don't really mind the orchestration in the guitar solo, what the orchestration is doing. It's sort of da 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 da. It sounds okay, but it's not really necessary. So probably on balance, just about give this one to the CD. The fourth song on the album second side was I'll Never Know, and this is another one like Heart of Rome that's really that really stands out as being much better on the CD here. So if you listen to the album, as soon as the song starts, you get the flutes in there again and the orchestration, and it just turns you off straight away. It just doesn't give the song a chance. It just sounds really lovely and simple here. And the song changes key a couple of times, and those key changes sound more natural without the orchestration. So definitely much better here on the CD. The next one is Ain't No Big Thing. It ain't no big thing, but it's growing. This one again is probably the CD, but it's also a song that I still don't like. The arrangement, even on the CD, it's still too cluttered. But of course, in the LP, there's even more going on. It's a really simple song, and I think there's probably one or two people playing on the record that shouldn't be there. There's just too much happening. But I just don't think you could really do much to save this song. But anyway, it's probably slightly better on the CD. And the last song on side 2 was Life. And once again, the CD version is better. You can hear the guitars more, and I prefer the downbeat ending. So on the original version, the orchestra builds up and you get this da 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 at the end. Whereas on the CD version, it just goes dun da dun da dun, and it's much better, much more effective. The only thing I like about the original version, which has gone, is at the beginning when the orchestra comes in, you get some really ominous sounding low notes from the string section. So it's kind of sad that that's gone, but on balance, the CD version is better. So of the 11 songs on Love Letters, I would definitely say 8 are better on the CD version, 2 are better on the LP, and 1 is a 50-50. So on balance, I'd say if the original LP was a 6 out of 10, had they released it like this, with the undubbed versions, then it probably would have been a 7 out of 10 album. So it's a definite improvement, but it still wouldn't have been a classic album. Some of the songs which have noticeable string arrangements are neither better nor worse, in my opinion. So at the beginning of the first CD, in fact, there are 3 songs which are noticeably different. The first one being 20 Days and 20 Nights. Now, I've always loved that song, even in the original version, with the strings. Now, in the new version, you can hear some nice guitar playing at the end, which you can't really hear in the original. But again, I can't really choose between the two. They're just different. Both versions are great to have. Another song you can hear near the beginning of the first CD is I've Lost You. And I've always loved that song. There's a lot happening in it in the original version. But take that away, and you can hear the drums more, and you can hear the organ more as well. So I love both versions again. Can't really choose between them. And the same is true with another early song on the CD, The Sound of Your Cry. It has a very noticeable string arrangement on the single version, but here without it, it's you can hear other sounds, and it sounds great. So both versions are really good. So as for songs which I definitely prefer on this CD version, I've already mentioned a couple of them, Heart of Rome and I'll Never Know from the Love Letters album. Another one which sounds absolutely fantastic here, a song I never really liked that much, is Patch It Up. I now really like this version. I've kind of changed my mind about that song because of this CD. It's a real hard rocker now. It's great without all that string nonsense going on. But definitely the best song on this entire CD, in my opinion, is You Don't Have to Say You Love Me. It's just an amazing arrangement without all that orchestration going on. You can hear James Burton's guitar playing. It sounds really good. I'm not sure if he's got like a tremolo effect on his guitar, or maybe he's playing through a Leslie rotating speaker, but the guitar sounds really good. And Jerry Carrigan's drumming is just fantastic. So that song alone, I think, is worth the price of the CDs. You Don't Have to Say You Love Me. There are a couple of songs which I have to say are definitely better on the LP, on the LPs which they came from. The first one is There Goes My Everything. And that is because on the original LP you get Elvis's harmony vocal, which obviously he recorded subsequently. Now without the harmony vocal, it's not as good in my opinion. I'd still enjoy this version here with just a single vocal, but I do really like that harmony vocal version. That song has been, well, I've been listening to that song for years and years and years, and I've just grown so used to that harmony version. I'll always prefer it to this version. And the only other song I can think of which was better on the original album is on the Elvis Country album, Funny How Time Slips Away. And this is actually during the instrumental break. So James Burton plays an exquisite solo in that middle there of the song. But in the original version you get backing vocals and a string arrangement over the top that really enhance that guitar solo. Now it's really nice without the vocals and without the string arrangement, but they do work really well together. I think that's probably Felton Jarvis's best contribution to these entire sessions, was what he did there in the middle of that song, Funny How Time Slips Away. But as I say, I still like this version here, but the Elvis country version definitely is better in my opinion. So there you go, that's my thoughts, my two penneth for what it's worth. Do I think you should get this? Well, if you haven't already got it, then definitely get it. It's well worth it. As I say, I haven't even heard CDs 3 and 4 yet. CDs 3 and 4 will be more of the same. They're all basically outtakes, whereas CDs 1 and 2 are the original masters, undubbed. CDs 3 and 4 contain outtakes of the same songs. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing those two CDs. So if you haven't got it, definitely get yourself this CD for Christmas. That's it. Thanks for watching. Take care.